Welcome to Two Guys and My Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Thompson, and my co-host,
Jeremy Connors.
And we have my Fajer over here.
Papa.
Oh, how exciting.
And Mr. Phil Barrett.
How we doing, guys?
Good, good. By the way, Phil did not want a beer, so.
No. I got to go back to work.
Really? Listen, we're supposed to believe that?
Listen,
right.
Work never stops in CP, right?
That's right.
Supervisor's always working.
That's it.
Yeah. So are business owners, but the hell with it.
Yeah.
Cheers. Here's to America.
Stars and stripes.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
I did bring a coffee, so
Well,
Cheers.
yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
That's terrible beer, by the way.
I say this about your coffee.
All right.
So I wanted to touch base really quick because I don't think nobody ever talked about it. I didn't ask you, Phil, or my dad. What was your thought on the J.D. Vance and Tim Wall debates? What do you think?
Go ahead, Dad.
Well,
That's loaded. Go ahead, Dad.
Oh, wait, I lost my mind.
I think that J.D. Vance's performance was designed as nothing more than showing this is who the next president is going to be after either Kamala Harris or Trump. And that's all it was designed to do. Support Trump as much as you could, but say, look what a great person I am and how I should be the next president. And he's right.
Phil?
Well, there's no doubt, incredibly smooth speaker. He's got all the policies down pat. He doesn't need a lot of studying, and the guy's just extremely sharp. He's been successful in everything he's ever done. So
Pretty good story, too.
Yeah, I was not surprised at the stellar performance that he turned in. And, he's somebody with a incredible background and story.
Great
I don't know if you had a chance to see his movie, but...
I haven't yet.
Yeah, I did watch the movie.
Greatest book.
And it's...
You mean they made a movie out of Hillbilly Eulogy?
Yes.
Did they really?
Amy Adams was the lead. Yeah.
Yeah. My mother watched it, said it was awesome.
Yeah,
Really?
it was great.
I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a great movie, but it really told the story about his upbringing.
Yeah.
All the way through how he got his career started, all of the...
Because he did come up from nothing. I mean, he is
Very
the quintessential American story.
Wow.
Very much so.
Insane. I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up, we got a hurricane coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty big one, too.
Yeah.
I know we all in this room probably have somebody who's going to be affected by it. It's going to, hit the Tampa area is the last coning I saw. Go straight up through Orlando, which is, a heavy tourist destination.
Well, it's covering everything from
right up Daytona.
about from Sebastian north to Orlando, the whole area. I was watching it before.
Wrong coast, Dad.
No. The storm's coming across the Gulf, across the peninsula.
I know, but it's going to come in. It's coming into Tampa as a
I know
Category
that.
5 and go out.
Everybody knows that.
Well,
but
just saying.
it's going.
Yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people, right?
From west to east, and that's where you have probably the greatest concentration of snowbirds.
Yeah. And now's the time.
Florida's tourist area.
Yeah, tourist area.
Kissimmee, Orlando.
Yeah, all that area.
Huge area there. So, we talk about that. We just we wrapped up a great show here, with the Sharps about the hurricane that just affected the Appalachia area. Phil, you're on the county board as supervisors. You're the chairman. What do we do for something like this? I mean, let's put ourselves down in Florida or in those shoes. Your resources. What do you do?
Well, it's really just about getting all of your resources lined up, making sure all your communications are in line and everybody's coordinated. And it can be difficult because you're coordinating across many different entities, governments, utility companies. In our case, it would be Saratoga County, our emergency services folks, our first responders, the Clifton Park Water Authority, Town of Clifton Park, our sister communities like Halfmoon, just everybody making sure that we're staying in communication because communication is the number one thing. What they've experienced there is, at least for a period of time, I'm not sure how things have evolved at this point, but a complete lack of communication,
it looks like
and
there's a
that's the
giant
most
breakdown.
dangerous thing.
Complete breakdown,
Complete
right?
breakdown.
Yeah.
Right? Military, they always say, right? Breakdown in communication leads to failure, which leads to death, right?
Yeah, that's the key. If you can communicate across the entities and with your team, who will be out in the field doing various duties, you can keep things moving. But the lack of communication, the lack of being able to get from place to place, that can break things down pretty quickly. So you can prepare as much as possible. But once you have a plan in the military, they taught us to have a plan and a contingency.
But they don't. I listened to a rather extensive interview with DeSantis this afternoon, and he was outlining what his state has done with the onset of Milton coming through, where they have pre-staged things all the way down the areas where they have pre-staged water supply, pre-staged military people into hurricane-proof buildings, so they will have the resources there. The problem we have from the federal government is there has been absolutely no leadership. Zero, nada, nothing. And this is what's happened for the last 4 years of this
Jim's
government.
laying the gauntlet down.
Yeah. We were going to come into that soft, Jimmy, but boy,
Come in like a
you
fucking
threw it.
hammer.
Yeah.
You know,
He
So
came in
Phil,
like a wrecking
this
ball.
is why my father and I go at it. So and I saw the look on your eye in your eyes, and I was like correcting you, like, Jesus. Well, my father and I have this dynamic that now you started.
I see that.
He just Miley Cyrus'd us.
He came in like a wrecking ball. Are you gonna sing that, Phil?
So Jim, we were on county resources there, but but to your point though, right?
But the point is that if the county is not able to do exactly what get your resources in place ahead of time,
You would hope the federal.
you're not
government-
going to have any communication. The problem in North Carolina, especially right now, I was watching these volunteer personnel from the Army. They were being stopped from going in. They're being stopped. People are having their stuff confiscated, and so FEMA steals it from you, and they decide to give it away. Now, they had people interviewed on that, and they showed them the trucks being stopped and FEMA confiscating the stuff.
I did see that.
I did too.
And this is what's wrong, is that this is not something new. It's happened time and time again.
Well, I think we're just seeing it now, right? Because we have the ability to be able to
See it real
to
time.
have real time media, right? And hence the reason why their censorship here, right, is a big topic lately.
Well, Hillary Clinton said it today. We need to find a way to censor social media.
Exactly.
And why, right? Because this is
They don't
getting
want
out.
the truth.
It's getting out. You know.
They don't want the truth.
So Phil, what's new in CP?
Well, Clifton Park, we're keeping busy. A lot going on.
Bass Pro Shop's coming along. I
Yeah,
see
Bass
it.
Pro. We got some steel going up.
Yep, I'm excited about that.
So your signature on the top.
So looks like next September timeframe is when it'll be open. A lot of people are excited about that.
And I even heard that I was reading the mall, Clifton Country Mall. They want to build a way to connect the two as more of a unified retail
Outlet.
corridor, as opposed to just have a Bass Pro Shop in the mall. They want to have.
That'd be
Jay,
great.
this is a vision.
Yeah.
This is a vision,
Yeah.
and Phil's
Yeah.
led that vision, over there.
Yeah, we've worked hard to redevelop Exit 9 starting back in 2000. It's hard to believe now, but the Exit 9 area was not doing well at all. A lot of empty buildings, a lot of empty retail space.
Welcome to New York.
And we were able to attract Boscov's to Clifton Park, and that got everything moving in the right direction. Target, Kohl's, and then so many others. But here we are 25 years later, we're still redeveloping properties. We had the old brick furniture going to Toys R Us. We've got Bass Pro going where the old dealership was. So
I worked at that old Toys R Us.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Free.
I did.
He just wanted to play with the toys.
Fisher Price here.
Jeremy, he was playing with the dolls.
We won't say which
We
ones.
won't get into
Well, why
that.
would you tell my secrets?
Yeah.
But listen, when his kid asks you for Barbie dolls for Christmas, you know there's something wrong.
Oh boy, that's a whole separate show. I think.
Family secrets.
Yeah.
I think I need to go to Who's Your
We need-
Daddy podcast.
We need Steve Harvey here. Family Feud. So yeah,
Yeah, so even 25 years later, we're redeveloping properties. But the new owner of the mall has an incredible vision for
Yes,
what he
he
wants
does.
to do there. You know, the mall
Who is
is
that, Phil?
90 Faraz Khan
Yeah.
and his family.
Yep.
The mall is like 96% full, and he's making a lot of changes. And if you go in the food court area now, there's a huge wall that's being constructed in the food court area, and they're taking down some of the old standing retail areas that fronted the food court, like the Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was an empty place where Spectrum used to be. All of that's coming down, and they're building out a new gymnastics.
Yes, they're
business.
moving the gymnastics studio to inside.
Yes.
So that people walking by can actually stand and watch. He was saying how he wants to develop the inside of the mall to be more interactive, as
Yes.
opposed to having, like, if you walk down from the food court to Boscov's, because of the way Planet Fitness is and a couple of the other stores, because they're outside facing stores, you actually have like an empty hallway essentially.
Yeah, it's boarded off
Yeah.
from the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he wants to reconfigure that to make it more just better use of that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
he's making some incredible
Yeah.
investments there, and the whole mall, especially the inside, is going to look starkly different and much better than it has in many, many years. Really hasn't changed since it opened in '75.
I don't know. Chess King isn't there anymore. I really like that store. I used to get all my ties from there.
All his Jordache jeans.
Yeah,
Hey, there you go.
Z Cavaricci's. Don't let him kid you.
His members only jacket that he was the first one in school to have a members only
Isn't
jacket.
that yours hanging up right there?
Leather.
Pleather.
You know what we need?
I think
Hit
that's the kind of
No.
vision that
He doesn't like it.
He loves
that
it.
this whole area needs, not just Clifton Park. That's the kind of vision that look at Waterford, for heaven's sakes. This could use somebody with some kind of vision here. But the whole capital district, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of vision there.
You know, as much as government likes to control in this area, being the Democrats, I find lack of central planning is huge. You know, you have all these communities vying for grants for their own little thing. Why don't they do more of a regional grant to have the communities interact with each other to get collaborative grants? So that like, for example, I know for a while there was a talk about a gondola system going from Albany to Rensselaer. How great would that be? Not only is that a tourist attraction, so it brings people and gives some people a reason to come to Albany, like the Slater.
Sure.
You know, there was a town in I believe it was Joliet that was very much like Albany, where it was a government town. At 5 o'clock, it died.
You know,
There was
nothing there. Zero.
So the city of Joliet took a decommissioned cruise ship and it converted into a floating casino. And all of the freebies that were given the casino were all only available to be purchased, to be used in the city of Joliet. So what happened is people came to the casino, they won a free dinner, well, then they got off the ship and they went to a bar or a restaurant inside the city. So there was a draw, and the municipality, the community of Joliet flourished. I don't understand why we don't have that kind of vision here.
Well, that's
ever.
where Schenectady failed by adopting that model. Schenectady could have had exactly that with Rivers Casino. And you go to Rivers now, you stay there. Once you go out, you look around and run like hell for your car.
Yeah, because you have the Mohawk what's it called? Mohawk scenes.
Harbor.
Mohawk Harbor. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. You walk out and there's STS Steel, a big steel plant there. That is a lack of central planning.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a
look
beautiful
at it,
area.
But I'll
It's beautiful.
tell you though, Jay. I mean, you know, in Halfmoon and Clifton Park, right? They work hand in glove. I mean, Phil and Supervisor Tallison, you know, Kevin Tallison. You know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. You know, you do it. You know, I think definitely the foresight and understanding of what the needs are for corridors, for you know, pushing businesses to the proper spots is important, right? Especially for having folks be able to access them or the needs for the area, right?
Well, that's where zoning's so important, because every parcel has to be zoned something, and that's where planning is important. Like in the Exit 9 area, we had a town center plan that we commenced in '08, and it led to what I wanted to happen, which was diversifying our economy, because we were very retail heavy. But with the advent of online shopping and that growing so much, there was definitely a need for us to diversify our economy, and we've done that. Hospitality, healthcare are two big parts of that
I
diversification.
think that has to happen because I think as time goes on, there's going to be fewer and fewer brick and mortar stores as people become more and more used to buying online. You know, why the hell do I want to drive to Clifton Park or to Albany to go buy something from Walmart when I can just go online and deliver it right to my front door and I have nothing else to do?
Well, there's no doubt, and with online shopping has increased, but people still want the experience. They'll still go to a place that they enjoy. And I think we've bucked the trend as far as that goes. We still have a great deal of retail, and if you look at the mall, like I said, it's about 95, 96% full. The Price Chopper Plaza, the Hannaford Plaza, those are all doing well.
Yes, they are.
The Crossings has a couple of open spots, small open spots, but overall doing very well. So people will invest, and they'll go and shop in places where it's convenient, and it's a fun place to be, safe place to be.
Keyword.
These are all very important things, and if you have a mixture of uses and a mixture of reasons for people to be in a certain area, I mean, look at Exit 9. Part of our town center plan was to develop a recreational area. We bought 37 acres of property from the Shen School District, turned it into a beautiful park. It's just another reason to be there. And so you need to have those attractions, and every community needs to understand who they are and what they want to be. We don't try to be like anybody else. We just try to really press the positives of our community and play on those positives, make them better all the time, and anything that might be considered an area that we can improve upon, we work hard to do that. So you need to set your own.
I mean, you see it in
and your own
Halfmoon,
path.
right? I mean, we're going through the comprehensive plan review, right? You know, so we're updating this. This hasn't been updated in 15, 20 years. You know, you look at the plan, and I chuckled when I read the entire plan, and I said, yeah, we stuck to that. We didn't, right? You know, and now, you know, our needs are different, right, to our community. Looking at, you know, rezoning and some things like that. That's important to draw in the businesses that are needed for your areas, right? That are really, you know, I look here on the Hudson River corridor, right? You know, we did some rezoning, and now we're starting to get some interest into some light manufacturing.
Yeah, that's what has to happen, because I think that in the past, places like Clifton Park, Waterford, Halfmoon, were bedroom communities, no industry, retail, that's it, and no manufacturing or nothing. And I think that as people are going to start spending less time in retail stores, you're going to have attractions like you have with the Exit 9 corridor. You're going to have that will stay there. Right. But as far as the smaller places, they're not going to exist anymore. So you're going to have to get some light manufacturing, because when I moved to Clifton Park, I was basically a half hour from everywhere. No matter what I wanted, even if I wanted to buy a toothpick, I was a half hour from a toothpick.
If you wanted to buy coal, you could go to the Jonesville. You go to the Jonesville freaking general store. You could buy bags of coal.
But that was it.
That was in what, 1920?
Yeah.
Cold and cold.
You know, the only good place to eat was the Jonesville Diner.
Oh, where Stewart's is now.
Yeah. That was a great little diner.
That thing was horrible.
Horrible. It was the best hamburger you could buy.
And the food was just don't look, just eat.
It was great. It was great. I used to love when I used to ask for a burger. She'd put the broom down and then grab the hamburger sitting off the counter. And
yeah, exactly.
on the griddle it goes.
Little extra flavor.
No washing the hands or nothing. You're like, yeah, I'll take it just like that.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yes, you used to do that. We used to watch that.
But to your point, as far as real retail changing, that's why you look at malls today. They're putting in the bowling alleys, and they're putting in theaters, and they're putting in, well, theaters always been hotels or other type of venues that aren't retail. They're more interactive activities, because they need a reason for people to go to the mall. Because to that point, online sales is taking a good chunk of that foot traffic out of those brick and mortars.
Well, we've worked to diversify our economy in
Yeah.
Clifton Park, but even the individual entities need
Have worked
to
together.
diversify as well, like the mall has, where you have a large gym, you have the trampoline business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, so these are experiences
The
and
hotel-
other
hotel.
reasons for
Yeah.
for people to be there. The hotel that's connected to the mall. So these are all very important. So really, just on a specific parcel, you need to diversify. It's very important.
So the question I have to both of you, actually, because you're both involved in town politics.
Oh, here's
so,
a loaded one.
No, it's actually a good one. I think a lot of people think about it, but just don't get the opportunity to ask. We all think of small town America with a main street. Obviously, Clifton Park and Halfmoon don't have a main street like Waterford would have, or Boston Spa or Mechanicville. How do you continue to identify or make an identity for a municipality or a community when you don't have a defined main street? Is that a challenging part? Is that something that's ever going to come about or never going to come back again? How do you navigate that? Because you ask somebody, there's no downtown Clifton Park. There's an intersection with a bunch of retail outlets, but it's not like a downtown like you would see in Boston Spa or in Saratoga or something like, or Mechanicville even. So how do you navigate the want for that or the not want for that? How do you change that?
Well, going through the town center planning process, I thought we could be both, because if you look at communities around the country, there's really two models. You have a regional mall model where you had an exit with a mall, right? Or you have the other model, which is a downtown, and I thought we could be both. So we're develop as we diversify our economy, as we work to improve the Exit 9 area. We're really working towards both things. Clifton Country Road, which splits down between the mall and the Hannaford Plaza down that way, that really is the downtown area. One important project we're doing is sidewalks on both sides, all the way down. From 146 down to Clifton Park Center Road. So we're making it more walkable. We installed several new ADA crosswalks so people could get from one side of the street to the other rather easily. So we're making it more walkable. We have the new park right there, 37 acres. We've got the library, we've got the Y, we've got shopping, healthcare, hospitality. So there's a little bit of everything down there now, and that's very important. But I think we can be both. I think we can have an essence of a downtown, but still have a regional mall model that's successful. Yeah. And that was part of the planning that we went through as we went through the town center plan back in 08, 09, and 10.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, Jay, you bring that up because this is a big topic here with the comprehensive plan. Back 20 years ago, this was a hot topic, a hot button issue. Do we build a main street? The problem of it is you get into property ownership and eminent domain and things like that. So what do? We adapt to it, right? So we adapt and said, okay, let's look at our Route 9 corridor or 146 corridor. It fits right up to Phil's point with the malls and whatnot and retail. So how do we pull from that? We're starting to see that a little more, right? We're working with Clifton Park. We have a major project coming in Halfmoon, Marketplace 146.
That would be like a more of a main street almost.
So that's going to set it up, and we've talked about that, right, Phil? And because we don't just go in and say, oh, yep, it's going in or this is going in. No, we work together. We work together to ensure that it's not going to create significant impacts to either communities, and that's really been I say a gift, right, Phil, that we have to be able to work together and work on projects to complete for the betterment of the entire communities in both. So,
I think specifically Clifton Park and Halfmoon have done a lot of great projects together with different intersections and traffic patterns, traffic corridors, trail projects, and these are all things that people really want. When it comes to quality of life, increasing property value, something that everybody desires, an important part of that is having parks nature preserves, and an extensive sidewalk / multi-use trail network. So we've built out, we've permanently preserved 2,000 acres of property in the last 20 years. We have many new parks and nature preserves around town. We've built out, we're going to be approaching 20 miles of new sidewalks and trails. And that's all very important. Clifton Park and Halfmoon work together on a trail system that goes through the entire Vischer Ferry Preserve, over 700-acre preserve, and we've got a wonderful trail system you can get from west of the entrance to the Vischer Ferry Preserve, which is at the Whipple Bridge off Riverview Road. And the trail ends, you're standing underneath the twin bridges. So it's an extensive trail system. It has bridges so you can get over the waterways, and it's just a nice, beautiful place for people to enjoy. And that's so we work together on a lot of things that benefit both communities.
Was that an extension or in lieu of the towpath that was running through Clifton Park all the way up to Rexford and all the way down that way around Klutz?
Klutz Dry Dock. Yeah, as a matter of fact, at Klutz Dry Dock, if you parked at Klutz Dry Dock and wanted to get into the preserve, it was very difficult to access different parts of the preserve. We built this quite large. They call it a farmer's bridge, and it's a wooden structure that goes over Klutz and connects to the paths.
The towpath. Okay.
Yeah, so that way you can easily now access both sections of the preserve. So that opened up the preserve. If you're down at Klutz Dry Dock, which is an incredible history down there, what happened there. I mean, it's incredible. People would stop there with their boats. There used to be businesses around there. It's all been overtaken by woods now, but nothing but trees and a couple of trails. But
trees and frogs.
Yeah, right. But that people would pull their boats in there. And then go shopping and pick up supplies, maybe get their boat repaired, and they're on down the road. So,
ship it.
Yeah.
So Phil,
Didn't know
what?
that, did you?
No, we had a history lesson here. Yep, Jay and I are.
They're going, huh?
Yeah, we got a B- in that, but a really cool thing that you spearheaded too was the HVCC Technical College right up on the Global Foundries properties up there, and I think you were one of the ones leading charge on the county level.
Yeah, right off of Stonebreak Road.
Yeah, pretty cool. I want to hit on that a little bit.
Beautiful building too.
Oh, it's a beautiful building. It's a commitment and investment in STEM education in the trades, which obviously is something that we need to continue to
sorely
evolve.
needed. It's sorely needed.
It sure is. So yeah, the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors as a whole, very supportive of that. We supported the project with funding, and we're pleased to be part of the group that worked together to make that happen, obviously with HVCC in the lead. But that new facility is really building out a campus. And once you have the identity of a campus, of an entity that, like HVCC, big name in the area, place where a lot of people started their education, and to now be able to expand into the STEM / trades in that location, incredibly important for the future of Saratoga County. So yeah, we're very pleased that they made the decision to add another asset at that location, and we're excited for the future and the many people that will be educated there, learn a trade there, and stay here and contribute to the economy in Saratoga County.
Is that in lieu of or in an add-on to BOCES?
Well, yeah, it would be. They're separate. They are separate, but in many ways they are similar too, because somebody that's coming through BOCES can then matriculate into that higher education ladder, and that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're really enticing people into certain fields and trades, starting them in, say, a BOCES. They matriculate into HVCC right here in Saratoga County. That's how we're going to power our economy and stop the what they call the brain drain. Stop that and keep them here. And if there's opportunities here, they'll stay here.
I think that the federal government could do something with that. I think, we have all these foreign exchange students that come here, take advantage of our educational system. We have the best education in the world when it comes to our universities and technical schools. And then they get their degree and they leave at our tax expense a lot of times.
Right.
I think what should happen is the federal government should put into place, you come in here and you get a degree that the U.S. taxpayers paid for because it's a reciprocal thing. Well, you've got to stay for a certain amount of time to give back for that education you received for free. I think that's something that should be done so that we don't have this constant brain drain that we have all the time.
Yeah, many
believe
people.
it or not, somebody who we probably don't like in this room at all, Chris Cuomo, is actually had a whole podcast about that on how there is a huge brain drain in this country, an intellectual vacuum, so to speak, where we have foreigners that come in and learn highly trained skills here, business schools, technical schools, polytechnics, and they leave as soon as their degrees are done. And here we've invested. There's a shortage in our country. They go back to India, China, wherever they come from, and they're building their economy with what they learned from here. And honestly, people don't go there to learn; they come here to learn.
They do.
And we're losing that. I think that's where the government should also step. Federal government should step in the visa program and say you can't leave. You're come here for an education. You should stay for a while and help pay back that education.
Yeah, but is that part of the problem that we have? It's not necessarily the new generation, but the existing generations, that we have a bunch of people now who think they don't have to work. They're entitled to all these things. Why should I go to school and go to all this massive amount of debt and what have you, and get out and all of a sudden there's no jobs left? Because as far as I'm concerned, and
we're not talking like basket weaving and liberal arts. People who are going to learn a degree in rocket science, they're going to get a job right away.
But all that stuff is going to disappear in the next 10 years, Jason.
You say that.
It is. Trust me, AI is going to totally change everything.
I don't disagree there.
100%.
I think a lot of things.
90% of research is not going to be done by you or I. It's going to be done by a computer program somewhere, because they are self-learning. As to whether they become self-aware or not, that's another kettle of fish to talk about some other time. But this is going to destroy an awful lot.
AI needs to be regulated and regulated heavily.
You're never going to
and very quickly too.
You can't regulate that, because what happens is the same way we tried to regulate software. You couldn't do it. You go buy a computer, set up in your basement, develop your own little software package, and hack into the arm.
Yeah, off you go. Yeah.
So I don't think it can be regulated. That's
So,
the danger.
Just got some breaking news here. If anybody's in the greater Daytona area, Volusia County has expanded their evacuation points. So if you live in Zone A, it's effective at 8 a.m. on Wednesday the 9th. You are to vacate the area. So this is really starting to pick up here. Some areas in Volusia County and beyond.
And that's on the eastern side.
That's on the east side, yeah. So, they're talking about residents along, Port Orange, South Daytona, Daytona Beach shores.
Yeah. They
have already been issued. This is moving westward, inland. So, a little concerning.
Eastward. The problem that I think they're going to have is that the rotation of that particular hurricane is such that once it gets into the Atlantic, you're going to wind up having its own storm surge coming in. And that, was at Port St. Mary or something like that. It's almost like a huge funnel.
Yeah.
And that's what's the problem with Tampa Bay too.
Yeah, it's gonna get hairy down there.
Yeah.
This storm looks like it's gonna be an unprecedented categorization. Is that?
We can only hope that it loses some power before
Well, I hope
it
so.
hits,
I hope so. I pray to God. I have personal interest down there myself. So, but I'll tell you, Governor Ron DeSantis, he's on top of things. He's on top of things, as you know. He, what'd you say earlier, Jay? What'd he tell old Kamala?
Yeah, I guess the two of them have been sparring because she was questioning some of his leadership and what he's doing. And he pretty much told her, this is none of your business, stay out of it. So the two of them are getting quite contentious with each other.
Well, he basically told her to go pound salt on an interview this afternoon. He was being interviewed by, who the hell was it? Somebody on Fox News. And he basically said, listen, I don't have time to play around with somebody like that. If you read between the lines, simply said, I'm setting up for my own population. We're putting people in place. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people in from thousands of people in from the electrical companies around the country.
Yeah, they actually have Tropicana Field right now
Exactly.
is loaded with cots ready for linemen. Linemen are
Yep.
staged in
Yep.
the properties there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Actually-
ain't nothing like storm money, I guess. But,
In an interview, the sad thing is, in an interview, without mentioning Kemp or I don't know what the North and South Carolina governor's names are, but he pretty much said the reason why there's such a problem is there was lack of planning.
Yeah.
He came out and said that.
Yeah, I don't-
He said
I-
that.
yeah.
He said, you know, in
I don't know how you
Florida,
plan for
we
that, though.
plan. Yeah, but like you say, he goes, we knew it was coming. We set
Right.
things in place. If you don't set things in place, it's going to get worse. So to the point, you look at, and I think it was you that said it, communication.
Yeah. That's everything.
If you're relying solely on internet for communication and the internet's out, you're screwed. Why didn't they have walkie-talkies, AM band, short range, shortwave? I mean, where are your redundancies?
Listen, in
you know what I mean?
Appalachia, though, they have their own communication systems.
Obviously
there.
not.
They
Obviously
they
not.
communicate.
I mean, I don't want to second guess people. And a Monday morning quarterback is the worst thing you can do. But you got to look at and learn from these mistakes. And if you look at Florida, that deals with these hurricanes time and time again, take a note out of his playbook.
Yeah, but on their defense, a little bit though, the
Granted, that wasn't expected over there.
yeah, but Helene dropped so much water in Appalachia.
Actually,
They
so-
never. Can you expect living on top of a mountain, Appalachia, and have a flood in your backyard?
well, what did
Well,
April
what-
say?
what's his-
41 trillion.
41 trillion metric tons of water.
Nobody expected that much water. So
So she said it would be the equivalent in was it 4 days? She said the equivalent of 660 days of continuous Niagara Falls dumping in that area
Yeah.
in 4 days.
exactly. And,
How does that happen?
You know, and that was never expected up in the mountains,
No.
that far away
Right.
from the shore from the hurricane. So I think you
Not
have
at
to
all.
give them a little bit of a slack by not being totally.
Oh, I would
prepared.
agree. I would
But,
agree.
but when you get people like Musk say, "I'm going to send in Starlink," and you're told, "Sorry, buddy, you can't do it."
That's my point.
That's what's wrong.
You know, you can't turn your back on resources, right? You know, you got a guy who has the ability to
Look at that helicopter pilot.
reconnect the world, right?
Yeah.
You know, essentially, and to deny that, it's mind-boggling, right?
Or turn away helicopter
Turn away
pilots that were.
helicopters.
Did you hear about this one? So a guy had his private helicopter. He owns a recycling company, and he was ferrying people as he was flying. He saw people wave. He pulled down, pick them up, drop them off. He comes up to again, my memory is not good with names. He comes up to this center and he drops the person off, and he was going to go back to get her husband. And he was told by the chief of the fire department, and he's also head of the emergency management response, if you fly out here one more time to get somebody, I'll have you arrested and pull your aviation license. He goes, let me just go get that one, her husband.
Right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
He ended up going back to the airport, and he left the guy stranded there.
We're hearing a lot of stories
To
like
me,
that.
that
It's-
person should be fired on the spot. That the guy's doing something that's not allowed. Okay, well there are exemptions. You look at DeSantis, who came out and said after the hurricane first hit landfall, we are removing the toll barriers. We're removing the requirements on load weight. We are removing the requirements on CDLs needed to go down our roads. We need freight moved and resources delivered where they need. That's leadership. That's what I feel we're not getting in the Carolinas.
Yeah, I mean, I
I hate to
agree.
be Monday morning quarterback, but,
No, but we're seeing-
if
we're
you're
seeing
going to be
it.
reactionary, you got to be proactive reaction.
Totally agree, and I think we're seeing it play out, right? And unfortunately, it's at the cost of lives.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I think you're going to be finding bodies from now till the new year.
I think 2,000 plus, unfortunately.
I hope
You know.
not, but I think you're probably correct, but I certainly hope not.
Yep.
There was
it's
there's so
horrendous.
many anecdotal stories of what people have seen. It's heartbreaking.
But how about Greg Biffle, the Biff?
Flying
Yeah.
his own helicopter.
I'll tell you, he's you talk about a warrior right there, right?
Yeah.
You know, for those who don't know, Greg Biffle was a NASCAR star, champion in the Busch Grand National Series, as well as the Craftsman Trucks.
A demi-star.
Was it? It was a Craftsman.
I wasn't going to say it.
Craftsman Truck Series. As
Was it
well.
number 16 3M?
He was in the 16 3M car in the Cup Series, the 60 in the Busch Grand National. and the 60 in the truck series as
Going
well.
way back in the
Yeah.
groove yard of funk.
Yeah, getting at it.
Can
Feng
you
shui.
remember back that far?
Well, yeah, a couple of younglings, I'll tell you more.
You'll do a couple more too.
Yeah. So no, he's got a private helicopter. He's out. He's rescuing people.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
but again, where's the
why?
federal government?
well, they're washing out the drop points.
Yeah, Glenn. We started telling you about this, Phil. Glenn Beck was on today, and he showed the video on his podcast. There was a privately made rescue center and a distribution center where people coming in, grabbing supplies and truckloads and ferrying them out to different locations. And these two SUVs come flying in with lights. They circled around a couple of times and took off, didn't stop. And about 20 minutes later, a Black Hawk, all blacked out, comes down and does a low hover, and there's a certain
150 feet.
There's a certain name, a washout they call it, where they
Prop
tilt
wash.
Prop wash, where they tilt the rotors to give a heavy downdraft.
Yeah.
Blew tents away, knocked over stuff, blew
Supplies,
supplies, put dust down over everything, and then just took off.
Moved campers.
I mean, there are videos of this, and nobody's answering whose Black Hawk that is. And Black Hawk, I mean, individuals can't buy Black Hawks. That's the government. Yeah. What is going on?
Have you guys forgot the term October surprise?
Yeah, but the problem is, I don't know.
It's disheartening, right? You're seeing
You hate
seeing
to think
some of these stories.
conspiracy.
It's
You know,
You do hear,
Yeah.
it, but unfortunately, it's been going on for so long now that on both sides, it's been going on
Sure.
for so long now that it is. The division is so huge right now that my fear is no matter who wins, we're going to see a bloodbath. No matter who wins,
I don't know about
and that's
that.
my biggest fear.
I think the media is fomenting that. I don't
I
think.
do too.
think
I don't
it's
think
prob-
the
of course,
American
you-
people are thinking that.
I think
I hope
people.
you're right. I
you know,
certainly hope
yeah.
you're right.
Listen, I don't think. I really don't think. Let's talk about J6 for a second.
He's going there. He's going
Let
there.
me ask, what's your thought on J6? Broadly, not specifics, just overall. Bad day, good day. Obviously, bad day, but rightfully, non-right, sentiment-wise.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, what happened that day, that story's been told.
Yep.
Some truthful, some not. But as a country, we've moved on from that. I wouldn't expect to see something like that in the future.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Would agree.
The media is fomenting this, and the problem is, you look at the people that dissented. It was a bunch of people that felt disenfranchised by their government and were unhappy with what was happening.
I agree.
It had nothing to do with Trump.
I know
It was people feeling that they were not being represented by their government. They didn't torch people's homes. They didn't beat people up. They protested and were fomented by psyops and doing what
You know,
happened.
the thing that
And I don't think it was any more than that. I don't think there's an underlying.
the thing that
rebellion in this country.
surprises me is that why nobody pushed this agenda, if you wish, is that they went into the federal buildings. Who owns the federal buildings?
We do.
We do. So they were invading their own home.
Well, a lot of
they were
interesting
invading
things
their,
went on
their
that
own
day.
home, whether you like it or not. It was their own home. They own the buildings. We, as a population, own those buildings. They're not owned by a specific government. Doesn't own those. The government doesn't own these buildings.
It'd be hard to prove that at
and
all.
so but I understand what you're saying there. I'm saying that's one way to look at it. My biggest fear on this is that I don't disagree that the media is fermenting this, but I think there's an awful lot of blue-collar workers in America who are so fed up with paying the freight and getting nothing in exchange.
Well, you're seeing that boil over in North Carolina.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's boiling over, and people.
People are
what
upset.
happens?
Well, there's a remedy for that. You go out and vote.
Yes.
And how many of them don't vote?
I think that it's not.
I mean, there's a large percentage of them that don't vote. So, I mean,
agree.
it doesn't seem to me that it takes a lot of time and commitment
no, it
to
doesn't.
go vote.
I agree with
Especially nowadays, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, anybody can vote now.
And if people that are fed up don't take a few minutes out of a day
I think they
to go
probably
down
do.
and vote,
Their biggest
then
fear, I think their biggest fear is that their vote's not going to count because we have.
But
We are the only country in the world that I know of. I've been fortunate enough to work in several countries. We are the only country in the world that I know of where you don't have to show that you have the right to vote. We're the
I'm
only
not
country.
saying the system
and this is the
is
pro-
what
this is
isn't
the-
without flaw. Believe me,
we've got.
I think it's ridiculous
You know-
that you don't show a license when you go vote. I mean,
insane.
it makes
Absolutely
zero
insane.
sense whatsoever. I have to show a license to do everything else except for
Exactly.
vote.
They get a book out of the library
So-
for crying out loud.
Can't-
But that's not what I'm talking about.
Speaking
I'm
of
talking
library
about
book.
people that actually don't bother to vote.
Yeah.
They're fed up, they're frustrated, they're this,
Yeah,
they're
you're
that,
frustrated.
and they can't find a few minutes to go vote. I think
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
that drives
so
me
that's
If
the
you don't-
remedy.
If you don't participate, you don't have
That's
a right to bid.
that's the ultimate protest right there,
Yeah.
and that's the remedy if you don't like what's occurring.
But what do you say to those people who feel like they're like, for example, the people who say that Trump won and he still lost?
Well, like I said, that shouldn't stop you from voting.
Correct.
However you feel about what happened in the
Go back and
past,
fight again.
you have to go vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I mean, if you look at certain groups in America, like gun owners, or
Yeah.
as you mentioned, blue collar, white collar, as people are described, as we put people into groups. Look at the groups that vote in very small numbers, percentage-wise.
Yeah.
well, we see it locally, right, Phil? I mean, we say, oh wow, we grabbed 5,000-6,000 votes locally, right? In a community that has 30-something.
Well, we have
people.
several.
It's insane.
So, I mean, our turnout in elections is up and down, but
about 30,
but by
40%.
local standards, it's pretty high.
No, it
Because if you look at, say, a vote at Shen, I
Yeah.
mean, if you get 2,500 votes, you're on the school board.
is.
Yeah.
So you're talking Clifton Park, most of Clifton Park,
Halfmoon.
most of Halfmoon, Malta dips into Stillwater.
It's
I mean, it's a
60,000 people.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
more
yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
It's a large population base, and so few people vote. But people will often tell me how frustrated they are with their school tax or something along those lines. But if you don't vote,
Yeah.
then your voice isn't heard at that point.
And
So
that's a big
there's a
part.
remedy for all of that.
I think
And that's the answer.
I think that's
People
why the
need to get out and
Republicans-
vote.
The Republicans are pushing so hard this year to get the ground game out.
I mean, locally, the ground game has been real good, right? This past year, I mean, really just pounding it. We see it. I'm a proud Republican. We're doing some stuff.
Oh, wait, where are the guns? Where are the guns?
Lawyers, guns, and money, right? Now, we're doing it, right? And we're making a lot of change.
Go ahead, it's good.
Yeah. So Phil, we talk about the county and stuff and what goes on there. I guess we're into the world of politics now, right?
I think that's the biggest problem we have right now is that we don't have enough people who are actually involved in politics. We have a lot of people out here talking about it, but nobody who's deeply involved about it because politics is a dirty word these days. It never used to be, but it's become a dirty word. Nobody has any faith in the federal government. We have even less faith in the state government. Look what's happening in New York City. Look what's happening in Washington. Look what's happening in California. So what do you do about it?
You vote.
You vote. You're right.
I mean,
right.
you
Yeah.
don't use that as a crutch. Well, my vote doesn't matter. I have no faith in this level of government. Well, go vote. It's
I
very
have.
simple.
Yeah.
I was sitting I'm a member of the Legion in Green Island. I was sitting there with some people there, and people my age, and I'm 82 years old. And we were sitting.
Still handsome,
we
too,
were
Jim.
sitting-
God bless you,
We were
Dan.
sitting talking about that. And two of them were saying, I haven't voted in the last 10 years. I said, why the hell not? He said, what's the point?
Yeah.
He said,
There you go.
I said, I'm going to go and vote, and I know ahead of time that my vote is canceled because we have allowed in and we allow so many people who shouldn't be voting to vote.
Well, I'll tell you, our election.
And so why should I waste my time? Because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
And what was this person doing? He was down at the Legion.
Yeah.
Having a few beers?
Yes.
Yes.
What else would you do at the Legion except have a few beers?
Right. But he doesn't want to take the time to go vote. I mean, I can't.
It's not.
yeah.
It's not take a time. He said, "I'm wasting my time." He said, "Why should I go vote?"
Wasting his time.
His time
Okay.
because
well, I mean,
he's 100% convinced.
but
that
this is
his
what
vote-
I'm
his
saying.
His vote won't
this
count.
this is what I'm saying. So they use that as a reason for whatever reason
Yeah.
to not vote. Doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
No.
It doesn't, right? I mean,
I'm not saying.
I tell
that-
people if you don't
I'm
vote, you
not
don't have a
saying you're
speak.
wrong.
You don't.
I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
I'm not getting mad at you,
Oh,
Dan.
you should.
No,
but
we're
it
good.
Wouldn't do any good. Anyway.
He'll take me out back.
That's it. That's it. You're all to the woodshed. That's it.
I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying.
He can
that-
put you in timeout.
Yeah,
is,
right.
is that
Yeah.
I see so many people doing that. And I try to say the same thing. I said, listen, vote. What do you got to lose?
That's right.
I said, if you think your vote's not going to count anyway, what the hell do you just go vote? It's going to take you 10 minutes. Why should I waste my time? There's so many illegals that are going to vote and ruin my vote anyway.
Yeah.
And
Well, obviously they're not interested, and they're looking for an excuse, and that's an excuse.
that may very well be true.
But-
You know,
Yeah.
that may
But
very well be
so
true.
let's circle around, Phil. With we got some.
And by the way, I'm not saying that doesn't happen either.
It does happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't
don't
happen.
anyway.
What I'm saying is, don't use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, use it to fuel
the reason
the
to
fact
vote.
that you
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
vote.
Yeah, I mean, we got some pretty good races here in the county, right? Going on. We got Joanne Kufferman for the county treasurer's position. Mary Beth Walsh for assembly. We got
Jimmy Tedesco.
Jimmy Tedesco
Yeah.
for Senate. So
Matt McLaughlin
Matt
over
McLaughlin
in Malta.
for Malta. Yep, he's
If you
working.
and if you live in Malta, I would suggest you get out and vote.
I don't live in
Whether you're at the Legion or not, not you
I-
specifically.
I-
I'm just looking at you because of our discussion.
I live in
But
Cohoes.
if you live in Malta, definitely get out and vote for Matt McLaughlin.
I live in
Yeah.
I live in Cohoes. I'm a registered Democrat and I vote Republican.
That's what we like to hear.
If you're
Yep.
going to live in
Hey.
Cohoes, you better be a registered
Jim,
Democrat.
I like that because it plays with the numbers. We like that. But no, there's some races that we got going on here, and within the county, and obviously we're going to support our Republican candidates, and we got some good folks out there that are they're doing the work. Next year it'll be us, right, Phil? I think you're up. I'm up next year as well.
Yes.
For the
Yep.
for the town
I got to
council.
sit with Tedesco last year
Did he tell you about his basketball?
for about 10
He was a
minutes.
point guard,
For about 10 minutes, and I was rather impressed with his ideas. He has a hard
Yeah.
time getting them through, mind you, but I was impressed with his ideas.
Well, it's tough when you get a super majority in Albany, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
it sucks. But so yeah, let's talk about a little bit. Actually, I'll wait till Jay comes back here because he's a little passionate about this one too. The Malta Albany Saratoga Speedway, right?
Yeah, right.
So we'll hold on that one here. Wait till he comes back. But
That's an example of what's wrong with the system.
what's that?
What's happened with the Speedway.
Vote.
That's
Vote.
No, that's like saying,
That's my answer to everything.
there's an airport here. Well, I'm going to build my house next to the airport. Then I'm going to bitch and moan and complain because of all the noise from the aircraft. Don't put your house there.
Do you know Scott Ostrander?
That's my opinion when it comes to
Poor guy.
the people who moan and groan about the Speedway. Hey, you shouldn't have built your house there. That was there before you.
Well, it is interesting. I grant you, it's kind of obvious what's there.
I know.
And on Friday nights, there's going to be some noise and a sprinkling of other evenings throughout the summer. But yeah, it is interesting to build a house in earshot or very close to the Speedway, and then say that you don't like the noise at the
That
Speedway.
would be like
Yeah.
the people in Daytona saying, guess what? We want to have the Daytona 500 canceled because it's upsetting my baby who's trying to sleep at 10 o'clock
We'll
at night.
see how that goes. So actually, Phil, let's talk about we brought up Supervisor Ostrander in his town there. We got the airport up there, right?
Yeah.
Big project going on up there. You're leading it from the county level, right, as the county chair. So tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we have a brand new airport, really, at the end of the day, from a facility standpoint, and aesthetics and services. So we'll have new hangar space, a new restaurant, new place for people as they come through to relax, do some work. a lot of the amenities that they don't have now. And it's not going to precipitate an increase in plane traffic per se, but it will be a much better experience for those that are using the airport. So it's an important, it's a very important thing for our economy and for the growth of Saratoga County. So it's a roughly $35 million project, I think, at the end of the day.
Some runway improvements, right?
And it's going. I think people will be very impressed
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it's
How long's
completed.
the runway?
I don't remember how long the runway was.
It will.
That's a trivia question. See, he stumped me.
He got you.
Dad
Bing.
got me.
If it's less than 4,200 feet, I can't land my jet.
Well,
Well, the airport is limited, and we're not expanding any runways. So if that rumor's out there,
that rumor was out there at one point.
that's not
Yep.
happening.
We were going to be taking away from Albany Airport. Remember that? That
Yeah,
was out
but it's
there?
just going to be a much nicer place to
But I
visit,
thi- I
and it's
think
going to have
that's
good
an
services.
example of money very well spent. Although there's no really put the money in, and you can see the benefit of the money being in. But what it does do, it gives people who land in the area, they get a good feeling
Right.
of a vibrant community, a welcoming
Absolutely.
community. You know, where like the Albany Intergalactic Airport is, it's what the hell? You don't even have an international flight out of there anymore. But they spend a lot of money because people who do use it, it looks attractive, it looks clean, people are well served.
Easy,
And
right?
It's easy access. I think
Yep.
that's a good investment.
Oh, I think it is. I fully supported that when that came out.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the highlights of
Yeah.
this administration in there. And so I can't thank you all enough, because I think what that does is that highlights the commitment to the community from the county.
We're going to have to get more of that because as time goes on, people are going to have more and more free time. Whether we like it or not, we are slowly being dragged, kicking and screaming.
We're not. We're gonna have this podcast rolling.
Into the European model where you're
Yeah.
going to be working fewer hours a week. You're going to have
Yeah.
more time off. This idea of having 2 weeks of vacation a year is insane. That doesn't make any sense. You should be having 5 or 6 weeks a year.
Whoa!
Did that-
That costs money,
Excuse me? You're telling me? You're talking to
That's
me?
it. Easy. No, you're right, Jim. You're seeing it though. Most of the new generation coming
Yes,
through, the
exactly.
new workforce, right?
Yeah.
Work less, pay more.
Yeah.
It's wild, but I can't fathom that. I don't stop working, and I know you all
but
don't either.
I think that if you take like most of manufacturing, look at the European model. I worked in Europe for a number of years. I worked in England, I worked in France, I worked in Sweden, and the people work just as hard. They just work different hours, and they understand that if you're anywhere in Europe, the month of August, forget about it, everything's closed.
Yeah.
The whole country's closed down in August. Everybody's on vacation,
Yeah.
and I think that's not a bad thing, because working from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, 6 and 7 days a week is just not good for your health. Is that part of the problem? Is that causing part of our health problems, our mental health problems,
No.
our physical problems?
No.
No.
We're not. This country is not becoming less healthy because of too much work.
No,
I can assure you of that.
As
As a matter of fact,
the
we.
Yingling.
As a matter of fact, we need to be more productive as individuals, more productive as a society. What's attributing to the declining overall health of our society is our diet, is the food, is the recommendations that come down from the government as far as what a good diet is. It's a total joke.
It's a mess.
We realize now that what we've been told has been good for us for decades is garbage, bad information, and people need to pay much closer attention about what they're putting in their body. But
sugar tastes so much better than vinegar, though.
I haven't.
I'll eat pickles.
Yeah.
Wait, don't say that.
Just cut out the sugar.
Yep.
Cut out the pasta and the breads and all that, and you'll be so far ahead. You'll feel so much better. And personally, it's meat and eggs, and little else.
That's all I eat are meat and eggs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go. See, that's why you look. That's why you look so good.
And I also
It's
work.
fit.
Yeah, he's fit as a fiddle, and ready to party.
That's it.
And I work hard.
Watch out.
Yeah.
And he works hard. See,
And my doctor tells me, Jim.
and he's 83.
Yeah, he tells me I'm an idiot.
Got a nice head of white hair,
He says,
and he looks great.
He says,
That's
stop eating red meat. I said, why?
No.
He
Yeah,
said,
'cause
you're
the
going
government
to
told you
start
to.
eating more fish. You're going to start eating more pork, if you wish. He said, more white meat. I said, why? I eat raw. I leave you do. I eat raw hamburger all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son eats raw hamburger. My grandkids eat raw hamburger. And
Well,
Savages.
I want to slap it on a grill for a couple of minutes,
That-
but I'm not going to say. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not gonna.
As a child, when I was brought up, we lived.
Red meat's great, but
Yeah.
but slap it on the heat for
Well,
a
the
couple of
reason
minutes.
why God,
Give it a two flip.
God gave you incisors and canine teeth to eat raw meat, to tear the meat apart and chew it, and that's why He gave you incisors and canine teeth.
Hey, don't get around him around Halloween.
I don't fight, I bite.
Ba-dum-bum. That's what she said. Oh.
So people just need to pay more attention about what they're putting in
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
bodies
Part
and
of the
stay
problem-
active. And
Part of the problem is to give me your podcast, not your podcast, give me your Xbox and,
Oh, yeah.
and get the hell outside and play.
I'll tell you, man, some of these kids, and we're pretty fortunate, Phil. I think we can speak it, and you as your kids, your grandkids,
Yeah.
that we know, they're out, right? They're out doing stuff. They're active. They're physically active.
But
right?
they weren't
That's
allowed
important.
to stay in and play in their
Right. I used to tell the kids go out and blow the stink off. Right.
Yeah.
And you got your boys that are both in marathons, and Jesus, what's Philip is out running. I'm like, Jesus, look at him. I'm like, Phil, run a mile for me too,
Yeah,
but no,
right.
he gets at it, and Brandon's out. He's playing
you need this guy. Oh, yeah,
playing soccer and whatnot. We're gonna take a little technical break here.
I hate to interrupt, but we're busy setting up my event tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
So
my guys
Yeah.
here.
why don't we talk about that
Yes.
a little bit?
So let's
before
go
you
with
go.
this. Yeah.
Well, I'll be right back. I'll give him the laptop.
He's such a busy guy.
I know he
know.
is.
He's
I got so
such a
much
busy.
crap.
Look at him. Look at him.
We were
he just-
rolling into some really good stuff.
I
We
know.
were just talking about we need a more productive society, and look
Oh,
at
I
this
thought you were
guy.
talking
He
about
is
hookers
so
and
pretty.
prostitutes.
Look at this.
Look
guy.
how productive he is.
Big bucks, no whammies.
He's doing 3 things at once.
I know. I love it, and he's getting it done. But yeah, I mean,
somebody has to.
so yeah,
We can sit here and talk all day.
that's-
But you mentioned the speedway, and that I don't think anything's been submitted, and I could be wrong, but I don't think anything's been
haven't
submitted
seen
to the
anything.
town as far as a project goes.
yeah.
The only thing I've heard in last few months is the developer who wants to put the 750
Low
apartments
income.
and commercial on the Speedway property was meeting with some homeowners associations. I don't know which associations and where, but that's the only thing that I've heard in recent months.
If the
Yeah.
owner wants to sell, that's different. But to force him to close so that he has to sell, to me, that I object to strenuously.
Well, nobody's
No.
forcing him to close.
No,
No,
they wave some
he-
dollar signs.
He apparently has a contract to sell the property,
Yeah.
contingent on approval of this project.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to what I said earlier about Matt McLaughlin. He's running for town board. He's on the town board now, and the town board is 3-2 Republican. There's concern for many people if it goes 3-2 Democrat that that project may end up being a reality. So, but I think Matt had overall,
Is the
not
reason
just for
why-
that.
Is the reason why it shouldn't become a reality?
Well, if that was proposed for Clifton Park, not on Speedway property, but just on any piece of property, I would be absolutely against it.
I would too.
Immediately.
Half Moon.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't think it adds anything to the community. I don't think
Extra housing, no?
communities need to focus. Well, I shouldn't say need to. I'll say what we did in Clifton Park. People can choose to do what they want. But my focus has been growing the commercial tax base, Now, of course, if you're in a desirable community, if you're ranked almost last in taxes in the state, like Clifton Park is by the state controller, people are going to want to come to Clifton Park. You're always going to have some sort of housing that's developed. But really the focus should be growing your commercial tax base, because if you look long term in the actuarial tables, it'll tell you that more commercial, less housing actually benefits the community in the long term with regard to taxes.
Of course.
And I can get into a whole discussion about why that is, but the bottom line is having a focus on growing your commercial tax base is incredibly important.
Sorry
So
about
that would be my focus if I was them.
You know, we saved a good one here for you, Jay.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking a lot
Oh boy, here we go.
No, this isn't a loaded one. You know, it's something that's, I think, near and dear to all of our hearts here, and that's the Albany-Saratoga Speedway, right? And,
Yep.
you know, Phil was just talking a little bit about the what was going on in the back end, right? But, you know, let's face it, we're all vested in that, right? You know, Jay, you sponsor a few cars that do circles up there on Friday nights.
Yep.
You know, one of them being the 23C DKM, the big block modified that races up there.
Ground pounder.
The ground pounder. Yep. I put dollars in, it goes out the tailpipes. You know, but
In more ways than one.
yeah. But you know, it brings a lot to our community. You know, we look at some of these events that go on there. I mean, we're looking at, I bet there's what, Phil? I mean, the this Malta Massive Weekend had to have 20,000 plus up there. I mean, it was insane.
Oh yeah, well, every week the stands are full.
Yeah.
As you get into September on a couple of those Friday nights,
Yeah.
so you'll see a little bit of a lesser crowd, just a little, not much. But that's because kids are back in school and everything. It's a little different.
Yep.
But and it gets a little cooler at night, yeah. But they on the final weekend show, you know, it was jam packed. I mean, they asked me to sing the national anthem at the
Fine job, by the way.
Oh, my
Terrific.
wife actually mentioned that. She saw you
Yeah.
on Facebook singing the national anthem.
Yeah, so that
Somewhere.
was fun.
That was there?
Phil's
Yeah,
got a
at the
great
Speedway,
voice.
yeah.
Phil's gonna,
Oh, boy.
Phil serenade us a little bit.
So that was great. I really
Mr. Frank Sinatra.
really enjoyed that opportunity, and so yeah, it was that weekend really topped off an overall extremely successful year. Yeah.
And I'll
You know,
say
the
with the
fun-
high car counts there, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you're seeing almost close to 200 cars a night up there.
Well, the funny
Unheard
thing
of.
is with
Now, is
Malta
the
Speedway,
spin-off-
what the problem is with Malta Speedway, it's like a reversal thing where it's not closing because it's not successful. It's super,
Right.
it's super
Right.
successful, and yet they're
Yeah.
still closing it because they make more money elsewhere. It seems to sound counterproductive. To me.
You might know, Jeremy, is the spin-off on Friday from the racing at Malta. Does it flow over into the local restaurants and bars and
Yeah,
whatnot?
yeah, it does actually. I know, you know, a lot of the teams cater in from local establishments, so they'll call, you know, pizza joints up there or sub joints or, you know, whatever to cater in food. I know we do. You know, we try to cater in every Friday night, feed our crew. You know, I believe that's important to take care of the men who are doing the work.
But going back years ago, you used to go on a Friday night around 11:30 at night. Where would all the crews be stopping? The Grand Prix Diner
Yeah.
at exit 11.
Oh yes,
That was loaded
Yeah, it
with
was
cars.
loaded.
Yeah,
It was,
that's
yeah.
why it was called the
Yeah.
Grand Prix Diner.
They're not going there now.
No.
That was a staple for me when I was
Well,
in
I
my
mean,
late
well, look at,
teens, early
look at the
think
20s.
recovery
anybody's
room
going
and
there
stuff
now.
there on every Friday night at the recovery room. It was a packed house after the races, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yes, yeah.
you know, we definitely
yes.
had a
And so was Bishop's Gate. Bishop's Gate was packed too.
yeah.
That was my favorite spot, Bishop's Gate.
But
I liked
but going back to the racetrack, I mean, you know, I think the venue has so much to offer, not just even racing, right? You know, we could have concerts there.
They had, didn't they?
They had a country concert deal.
Yeah, Country Fest was that?
They
Was
had
there
Country
one year?
Fest one
Yeah.
year up there was actually it was massive right up there. I thought so. But you know, what's your all take on that?
Well, you know, I think that the government should step in and stop the sale. That's just me. That's where it goes back to central planning.
Vote.
that goes back to central planning. I think there comes a time and a place where government has to step in.
But I'm going. Yeah, you go back to voting. So you have.
How can you?
You have candidates running for town board. They should be asked, "Are you for that project or not?" And get them
Yeah.
on the record right now.
Yep.
Matt McLaughlin has basically stated that he's not in favor of the project. He's already on the record. I don't know about his opponent. So again, if you're in Malta and if you care at all about this issue, make sure you go out and vote.
Vote, 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 vote.
And a lot of people will talk about the presidential election, and they'll say, well, presidential election, my vote probably won't count, well, however way they're voting. Because it just seems so massive. The whole country's voting, the whole state's voting for president, so their vote seems so insignificant. But it's getting out to those down ballot races that should also be part of your reasoning to go out to vote. So
All politics are local.
well,
All politics,
whether congressional races, state senate, assembly, town board, right down the line, county treasurer, whatever it might be. Those
Prop
down
1.
ballot races, Prop 1.
Oof.
Yeah, which is incredible. Just if you don't want to vote for any candidates, tell your folks over the Legion to vote no on Prop 1. And they've
So for the ones
and if
that
they
don't-
say
for the
what
ones
it is,
that don't
just
know
say,
what
"Look it
Prop
up."
1 is, what's Prop 1?
Do you want to go, Phil?
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, that's literally starting to give the government or school districts access to have your children make their own decisions.
Well, there's so many
so many-
things wrong with it. I mean,
Yeah.
we could spend a half hour on that.
That is so wrong from day one.
But they put a nice name on it, nice cheery name on it, and hope people buy into it without looking into
And
it.
they do. They
will.
Well, some do.
But they
Some
got to
do.
vote for it before they read it.
Yeah, some do.
Yeah, it's rather lengthy, right? What's on Prop 1, but look into it and read it. We actually should probably have a show.
Do your research.
Yeah, we should have a show on that probably before election, because that's a big one that's going to affect, parental rights.
But how?
So let me just
can they-
interject here, because I am going to have to pull back out because I've got other things going on.
Yeah.
But
He's so
I
busy. He's so
I just
productive.
wanted to bring up.
He is the
tomorrow-
epitome of productivity right now.
No, not really. But and I fear walking by the camera because it does add 15 pounds. But anyways, so I'm planning a big donation. I keep wanting to say recycling event because that's what I always do.
Yeah.
But
Support.
In a way,
I'm planning. Jeremy and I are planning a big donation event for the hurricane relief down south, and at my shop at 2305. Jesus Christ, 2305. Wow, I'm going back, way back in that.
Yeah.
At 392 Hudson River Road in Waterford at JPS
Halfmoon.
Recycling. Okay, Halfmoon. In Saratoga County, we're having a in-person collection event. I'm actually podcasting live. We're going to be live streaming starting at noon, and I will be talking and dancing and singing and doing whatever I can to get everybody out here to donate until my voice
He will have his
stops.
clothes on.
I should hope so.
I didn't
Trust me.
I didn't think
you
that
don't
ne-
want to see what's
I
going
really
on.
didn't think that needed to be added. But anyways, thanks a lot, Dad.
I like Dad.
Yeah.
I like Dad. He's a good man. I think you and I should go down to Legion.
Yeah.
Vote.
That'll,
them out.
be, that'll be your first and last time, trust me.
We'll go down election day morning. We'll get them out to vote.
So we're
Vote.
collecting blankets, water, food, socks, new textiles, hygiene,
Non-perishable food.
with a
Pop top.
and then we're gonna bring it down ourselves down to the Carolinas. To help people out there. We feel the calling,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to do. So, please, I hope we see you guys tomorrow. I want you guys to come
Yeah.
out and let's show them what the 518 can do. And
Yeah, let's get this done. And I just again, it's every one of you out there. We need you to come. We need
it's
you
like
to help.
this. It's like this.
Yeah, you.
You know, what's the definition of is?
And but Phil, thanks for coming out here tonight.
Yeah.
You know, we hit on a litany of topics.
We got to get him back. We got to get you back.
Well, I could tell a couple of times Phil was squirming over there saying, God, what did I get myself into here?
Well, you know, I think
I'm here for the folks of Western Carolina. You know.
that's it. Well,
Yeah.
No,
Here and I thought we were friends.
What happens when
No,
you
we're
think?
very, very happy that I want to thank both of you for doing this. You know, working with the Sharps family, we've been doing drives on the Common. We have 2 more coming up this week.
For those of you who don't know, we had a previous podcast, and the Sharp family came out, and they have family in Carolinas, north of Asheville. And if you go back to a previous podcast, we talked to them, and that's who kind of we are spearheading this with. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to give some backstory to what you were saying.
Yeah, so you know, I'm just happy to connect you two with the Sharps family. 2 veterans. Well, one's active. Mike's still active.
yeah, it's great.
But wonderful Clifton Park family.
2 medics.
They're just doing an incredible job, spending a great deal of time getting these, not only collecting these donations, but getting them where they need to be.
The logistics
I'm
alone,
glad
huh?
we can make this connection.
Yeah. that's
Appreciate you guys doing the collection here, and we're going to continue to work with them on the Common. So everybody, every little bit counts. Every little donation counts, and it'll get to somebody in need. That's the main goal.
All right.
Yeah, so Phil, we're gonna see you. We'll see you back here soon, right?
Are you going to try to come down here tomorrow or what?
I'll try. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try to get.
That'd be
down
fun.
there. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
If
like to
and then
stop.
you know, back on the podcast here, you know, we're think Jay's looking to really take this podcast to the next level, and you know, we think might have some slots coming.
The
in.
Phil Barrett Show.
Phil Barrett show. You know, we'll come in with the
Well,
deep
you never
voice.
know what's going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We do
the
live in
Phil
interesting
Barrett Show.
times.
Yeah,
Well, hold on. I think that Phil should do it in his Frank Sinatra voice.
yeah.
Let's hear
Come
it.
on,
Let's hear it, Phil. Come on.
Well, I don't want to sing here, but
Loving
we'll save
you.
that for another show.
Da, 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 da.
Maybe if I can bring a piano in here, we'll get an
all
accompaniment.
right.
Oh, my father plays the piano.
Oh, you play the piano?
I can bring the keyboard in for you.
Oh yeah.
He likes to.
All right, I'm
strum
gonna
the-
hook up
the
with Dad.
ebonies and the ivories.
I'm gonna
I thought
hook
he
up
played
with
something
Dad.
else.
We're gonna go through a few.
Skin flute.
I heard that.
Oh Jesus.
Till we meet again.
Just remember, when all is said and done, at the end of the day, it's night.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Dad.
Getting her done.
Thanks, Phil. Glad to meet you, by the way.